We're gonna start calling these not so fat Fridays.
Love that.
Get to walking, get to talking. We're gonna start, or we can just start calling them walking talks. Requirement is you have to have a treadmill or out walking. Jim's all, I don't like that.
Daisy will walk for me.
Yeah.
See? On cue.
She's a sweet girl.
Good job, dum dum.
Moose is being a dum dum outside the yard, right there. We got him so exhausted yesterday from playing in the pool. So he was in the pool for like 2.5 hours. He's got a little duck that we got. It's a fetch training toy for hunting. And throw it in the pool, and he goes after it naturally, just parades around with it.
We got one of those at my mother-in-law's pool, same thing.
Well, good morning, Jim. Good morning, Joanne. Good morning, Anthony. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, Serena. Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
A light Friday, I see. Well, what they say is those who show up get the value, the others get the FOMO. How's your Fridays going?
Good.
What are our wins from yesterday, or the day before, or the day before, or whatever?
Got one of these yesterday.
Heck yeah, a chip.
Drinks on Jim.
Drinks on Jim.
Right?
All $7.
That won't be that much fun. Me and Dan don't drink.
No.
I drink coffee.
Me too.
Give me a Dr. Pepper on the rocks.
Whoa, easy there, pal.
I feeling loose this morning.
Yeah.
I got a phone call yesterday out of the blue. I don't know, maybe 11:30. Said, hey, don't know if you remember me. We were the buyers on a place that you sold, and we need to sell it. And I said, okay, I do remember you and your husband in this place. She's like, yeah, all of that. I was like, okay, well, when do you want to get together? She goes, we want to get it on the market as soon as possible. When can you meet? I was like, I could be there this afternoon, about 2:30, 3 o'clock. Perfect. By 4 o'clock, I had a listing appointment. Knocked out, done, photos ordered, listing signed, high fives all around. Sometimes, guys, comes out of nowhere. Not like it's the biggest listing in the world, $150,000 price point, but I'm rocking and rolling, ready to rock and roll. And they called me. So that's why you send the market updates. That's why you send the neighborhood nurtures. That's why you send the postcards. You never know who's looking at them.
And you were ready. So that's what I want to do. Like I haven't been practicing my listing presentation, and I've been hearing it, like, I don't know if it's just the RAS thing, but I've been hearing a lot of those listing agents say, like, in their beginnings, they would practice every day and write it out every day. And I have not been doing that. Been doing mostly the buyer presentation stuff because that's who I've been attracting. And yeah, I want to attract all the listings, and I want to be ready when I get that phone call. And I don't feel I am. And I need to put that energy out there like you. So
Speaking of, how'd the scripts go for
didn't go. I'm putting that in the calendar, and I wrote some out. And
so I took the time out of my day to send you the scripts, and you didn't do it.
Oh, I decided I don't want to do canceled and expires. It just icky to me. I don't know. I did not.
Low-hanging fruit.
I know. I think I'm gonna do the golden letter thing that we were discussing, and then farming. I think I'm more of a farmer. I'm not. I don't think I'm a canceled and expired girl.
Actually, I want to deep dive on that. What is it about the canceled and expires that has you, I don't want to say scared, but concerned? I don't think you're scared.
People hated my calls.
So what?
I like it better when people are happy to see me.
That's fair. What do they say? If don't do something that you don't like doing because you're not going to do it anyway, or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's just the energy. Like, people like me at the open house, and they don't really mind it when I knock on their door. They end up saying thank you.
So are they mad at you, or are you not bringing enough value?
Usually they're mad at me. They're like, stop calling. I'm like, okay.
Well, I'm trying to remember what script I gave you.
Uh,
Because I do. I'm not gonna lie and say I don't get that, but I get it less often when I'm certainly providing value.
well, you had a good idea about calling the older ones. Because if I was gonna pursue it, I was gonna call the older ones. Because that would help me stand out.
I love the old expireds. Everybody
Yeah.
sleeps on that one.
And then since I like going up to people, I was gonna go to their house and set myself apart because they are getting inundated with phone calls. So I'd knock on the
That's
door.
one of my favorite scripts, actually. I stole it from Land Voice. It
Well,
says, hello, is this Joanne? And you're like, this is Jim Fuller from Full Realty Group. I'm calling you first thing today to let you know you're going to be getting a lot of calls. As you probably know, your house listing expired last night. Did your agent tell you this would happen, right? Then you let them ramble. And then I'm giving them 3 important tips, right, to help them get through today and the rest of the week. Just so you know, you'll probably get 30 to 50 calls on every phone number that agents can find for you. And you say, here are my recommendations. And, do you have a pen and paper? And they say, first, change your voicemail. Your voicemail should inform every agent that calls you that your listing expired, and you'd appreciate if they stopped calling because you're already interviewing your top two. Obviously, you're implying one of them is you.
uh,
And then second, did you know that your phone number is not listed on the National Do Not Call Registry, right? And you advise them on how to do that. And then lastly, I recommend you compare your property to others selling right now in your area, blah, 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 right? If you'd like, I could bring you some comps and a comparative report. Right. And then, you just kind of bring, number one, you're solving their problem first. Then you're bringing your value. I don't know if I sent you that one or not.
I don't know.
Like I said, I stole it from Land Voice.
It's
Land
Okay.
good stuff. I mean, guys, I hope you guys are taking it down. Those of you I can't see if you're acknowledging head nods or anything like that. So it's tough when you don't have cameras on. I can't see what you're doing. So I'm gonna have to trust you're listening and getting this pearls of knowledge. That's a great script. It's showing confidence and it's a different conversation than other agents are gonna have. Be different, stand out. Be the red hat in a sea of black. So Jim put it in the chat. If you guys would take a second to save it from the chat, that'd be fantastic. Get yourself familiar with how to do the do not call registry. It's very simple. Click on it, fill it out, hit end. So
Awesome. Thank you again, Jim. I still have a month of yeah, the mojo, so I can still do it.
all right. What else, guys? It was a great start to the conversation. I was just sad that it piddled out. Joanne and Jim are just having a call today. The rest of you guys are just spectators. So let's talk a tough situation. When does a buyer get keys to a property? And when does the seller need to be out of the property?
After close, before close.
Okay. Tell me.
I just told you.
So tell me. Other ones.
Like recording, like when it records.
Okay. When it records. What does that mean? The moment the title company or the escrow officer has hit send to record and they've got acknowledgement that then now the new owner has taken legal possession. That might be 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We don't know. So what's a very good conversation to have with either the sellers that need to be moved out entirely by the point of recordation, or to the buyers that are just itching to get in prior to?
On that same thought, I'm going to interject just a little bit for the California agents. In the RPA, there is a box that nobody ever checks that will save your life that says possession upon recordation or 6 p.m. Check the 6 p.m. box. Make your life easy.
Yeah, give yourself some extra hours. We've got something similar in Arizona. Upon COE or blank,
Yeah.
you can put 6 p.m.
Right.
day of closing, 6 p.m. Day of recordation plus 6 p.m. But
Yeah.
if you're having good conversations, you're going to level set expectations. Now, they're still going to be grumpy. They're still going to be pissed and vinegar. They're still going to be mad. They're going to still say shit. And I quote, hold on. They can call the cops when we record because they won't be out. They just going to deal with it.
What?
Okay.
That's awesome.
No.
That is not the energy we want to have moving into a close of escrow. Because you can have 99% a perfect deal. Everything's good. You've worked, you've fought, you've done everything possible. But you get to the very last minutes, the stress. What do you mean we've got to be moved out by 10 a.m.? Well, dude, we're recording at 10 a.m. You got to record on this one to be able to buy the next one. Well, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, I just moved heaven and earth to make this happen for you. I told you 25 days ago you needed to be moved out by 10 a.m. on the 23rd. Nothing's changed. I'm sorry. This is stressful. It's stressful for everybody. But you got to think about all of this is just a legal process. The buyers gave you extra time. You didn't use it. It's not my fault. Now, that 1% conversation just salted the entire transaction, didn't it?
Yeah.
So, what can we do to keep ourselves out of a situation like that? Mind you, I'm helping the other agent that's on this. I'm working through that with her and be like, hey, this is what you could say. This is what you can do. This is what we can do. So,
just a few days before, just make sure, keep tabs. Like, hey, you moving out? Because the same thing happened to me. Because
2 weeks before, a week before, 3 weeks before, 2 weeks before, 10 days before, 7 days before, 3 days before. Constant reminders of the timeline.
Even at the buyer appointment, right?
Yeah.
This is what this process is going to look like.
Yeah, this is not going to be fun. It's going to suck. It's going to be stressful.
Buyer roadmap. Get one. I'll send you the copy. I think Dan's looks better, but mine's already made.
I was making one the other day. We are on the same wavelength.
But using these at the buyer presentation, it helps avoid those situations. And you can even reference it. Remember on page 6, we talked about, after, removing the contingencies, we close on the property. And then after that's the possession, So no, you can't put your storage pod on the property 3 weeks before close of escrow.
Without approval.
Yeah.
I like to say that because I've gotten sellers to say, yeah, no problem. They can put the storage unit there at the end of the driveway. Or, if it's an acre, they can park their semi full of shit in the backyard.
Right.
I don't like it because I like to keep things clean because shit happens. And what happens if you've got a garage full of the buyer's stuff and they don't record on time? Now you've got their stuff in your house over weekend. It's a holiday weekend, so it's a 3-day weekend. So now you're responsible for 3 days worth of the buyer's stuff in your house. We don't like that, right? It creates some stickiness.
Or what if it doesn't close at all? Something happens, somebody buys a brand new car, their DTI gets all jacked up. Yeah, I'm with Dan. I like it clean.
Yeah.
I hope you guys are checking this out. This is a common conversation that's not happening the way it needs to. So let's make sure we're having it. And it needs to be something we're talking about repetitiously because people need to be reminded more than they're ever told the first time. There's a fun saying I like to remind my wife is that no one is more excited than the husband hearing about the plans the second time. Because she done already told me, I forgot. So you can't just check a box and say, yep, we went over it. You need to anchor it. You need to talk about it multiple times. You need to remind them, hey, we're closing in 2 weeks. Make sure your utilities are turned on in the new house for the day of closing. All right. Or if they're selling, make sure they're turned off the day after. Well, why am I leaving my utilities on the day after closing? Well, most utility companies are digital and they will stop your utilities at midnight. If the shutoff date is today, then they would have shut them off at midnight. So we would have had no electricity for 8 hours and 16 minutes.
You're not going to make coffee while you're loading up your moving truck.
So that's why you say shut it off the next day. If you explain the why behind these things, people buy in a lot easier than just saying, well, I'm not paying for one day of the buyer's utilities. No, it's not about that. It's making sure that you have utilities on until the close of escrow. If we close escrow at noon and you still have the AC running for the rest of the day, I'll give you the $4 it cost you. If that. Turn the AC up to 85 when you lock the door and walk out. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. Buyers, right? Turn it on for the day of escrow so that it's on when you're moving in. And then remind them 2 weeks out, 10 days out, 7 days out, 3 days out, a couple days before, the day before, the day of. Hey, just want to make sure when you get the yes, I got the utilities on, then stop reminding them. When you get the yeah, we've got everything moved out, everything's in a U-Haul, we're ready to go. Great, stop reminding them. But people have lives, things happen. So remember that cadence. The first conversation during the consultation, have it in one of your guides, written and printed, because people like to see things and read things. So you can call back. Page 6 says, upon move out, this is what needs to happen. It needs to be broom swept and all your debris removed. That means take all your shit. Dog poop counts. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that there are people out there that don't believe they have to do all that because it's the new buyer's problem, not mine. That's not how this goes. So, other thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, that happened to me. My seller's version of move out was different than my version of move out. So he left a lot of shit. So I felt like it was my responsibility to move that stuff out. So before the buyers came in, because I promised the buyer's agent that it would be clean, and it wasn't. And yeah, it was kind of like a little nightmare for me. So I made sure I swept it up for them so that it wouldn't ruin my reputation, because I promised that to the other agent. So yeah, my fault on that end. So I had to clean that up. So that was me. But yeah, but I was reminding my client, but he just, I didn't think that what move out meant to me and him were two different things. So I ended up hauling out like 2 carloads of stuff out of the house because he left all that stuff, that crap in there. So
You got to do what you got to do. One of the worst situations I had was a seller of mine, a friend of mine. The day of closing, I checked in with him. Hey, man, you got everything out? He goes, how can I have everything out? I don't have access to the new house yet. I've got to wait until I get the money to get a U-Haul. And I'm like, no, that's not what we talked about. He goes, I've got everything out of the house, but the garage is still full. I'm all, that doesn't work, man. We've got to be out of the house, completely out of the house by the time it records. He goes, I'm in Phoenix. I don't know what to tell you. Tell the buyers to figure it out. So they're going to figure it out by shutting you out of your house and making you pay rent on your high performance Mustang, your vintage Mustang, all the parts that go along with them. Why would you leave that up to somebody else's ownership?
oh,
And he's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm in Phoenix working. You should figure this out. You're the agent. This is your responsibility. I said, Elliot, it is absolutely your responsibility. You're the seller. You're buying the new house. I told you about this months ago. I told you about this weeks ago. I told you this about yesterday. We need to get shit done. And then he hung up on me.
Oh
Okay,
no.
that's how we gonna play. That's how we gonna play. So myself gets on Facebook and says, I need help in Marana. Got a cellar with a whole bunch of shit left behind and he can't move it. I need some bodies and trailers. Please help. My best friend Tony showed up, who also knows Elliot. Two guys from the neighborhood showed up, and one of the guys from the car club that Elliot's a part of showed up. The guy from the car club figured, hey, Elliot's garage still has two very expensive cars in it, so he brought a car hauler. We quickly loaded up both cars. Boom, $150,000 worth of metal out of the garage. Tony and I did all the parts, loaded everything up in the trailers. The guy from the neighborhood grabbed all the junk pallets from the backyard because he did bonfires all the time, took those out in the desert, and he's like, I'm going to keep these. I'm going to burn these myself. I'm like, hell yeah, redneck, let's go. The buyers and the buyer's agent was sitting down the street in their car for 2.5 hours as we hustled to empty this garage. I got multiple calls and texts. Hey, is the buyer out yet? Hey, is the buyer out yet? Hey, we're going to drive by the house and make the buyer better be out. I'm like, bitch, I know you down the street. Quit playing me. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I said, trust me, the buyer will be out before it records. What she didn't know is I was on the other phone with Title saying, hold that shit as long as you can. Title, call me up. Hey, we got 30 more minutes before we can't record today. I was all great. Record it in 29 minutes. And at 4:01 p.m., 1 minute past the recording deadline, they recorded. And I had just swept up the last little trash in the garage, put the keys on the counter, mumbled a very colorful set of French words, and we drove the rest of the shit to the new house.
Things we do.
People, let me tell you, even though you told them, you're going to find that small set of people that's going to be, not my job, not my fault, not my problem. It is. It's your stuff. And you as an agent are going to have to step in and help out. It's going to suck. But make good
Whatever
friends.
happened.
Buy some donuts.
Whatever happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Whatever happened to the car?
We've loaded it up, took it to the other house. Audrey missed
Took
that
it
part.
to his house?
Yeah, his new house.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, his new house. They
Oh,
loaded
man.
him up and hauled him away.
Dang.
Another thing happened. I found out this is the same deal. We go to the new house. We finally get recordation notice about an hour after we recorded the other one, right? 4:01, then 5:00 because got to fund on one to be able to fund the new one. And I get the keys and I open the garage and the garage is full of stuff. Tony told me, sorry, I broke in last night and I unloaded the U-Haul in there. I'm all, dude, don't do that. You're going to get me in trouble. You're going to make me lose my license. Don't do that. So that's why Tony was super eager to help because he knew he'd done wrong. But it does not matter how many times you tell them, there's still going to be the people out there that you're going to have to go like, are you stupid? I told you this is what we needed to happen. This is not new information. It's not like somebody just, surprise, you're closing today, you need to move everything out. No, you knew about it. But if we're constantly, politely persisting upon reminding them, hey, this is our timeline, this is our execution date, this is what needs to happen, this is what I'm going to try to get done. I'm going to call the buyer's agent. I'm going to see if we can get a couple hours after recording so you guys can move some stuff. I'm going to call the new listing agent on the new house, and I'm going to see if the seller is okay with us putting stuff in the garage. We're going to get an addendum in place that says you get 1 full day after the close of escrow to move all your shit into the new house. This situation sucked because the buyers on the new property, or so the buyers on the seller's property, have been living in a hotel for a week because the sale of their property went through last week. And they've been pushing us every single day. Hey, can you guys close early? Can you close early? Can you close early? We're like, no, we'll be lucky to close on time. And then we got, this is the marathon deal from 19 calls ago. And then The next house, it's open door. Open door ain't going to give you any leeway. Can we get pre-possession for an hour? No. They can't even park shit in front of the street. But you got to tell them that. You got to communicate. You got to do everything you possibly can to make it done legally. Because we don't want anything to come back to bite our buyers or sellers in the butts. Because deals do fall through at the last minute. Things happen at the close of escrow. And you don't want to have all of your stuff inside of somebody else's house. On that same note, I hate post possessions where the seller gets to stay in after it closes. Can you guess why?
Yeah, because they've got either license or a lease agreement that something gets sloppy, something gets left behind. You know, it's not a smooth transaction. The good news is you no longer have agency.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell your seller to go kick rocks. You're like, I hate you.
Not a good way to get repeat referrals, but
No, not at all.
I put my little move out email in the chat too. I put a smart plan automation that it sends that out about 10 days before close.
That's a good idea.
I hope you guys are taking this stuff out of the chat. Jim's putting up some absolute gold. Save it in your notes app. Save it in a Word doc.
We should have charged for today.
Should have charged for today. Today was a $500 day. Only one paying is Anthony. He's paying with blood, sweat, and tears. But I can tell you, hundreds of deals, hundreds of closings, hundreds of clients, all walks of life, all different levels of stress on closing day. The one thing that always shines true is when you communicate, a majority of the people are going to do what they need to do. You're still going to have the 1%ers that are going to be jerks about it. And that's unfortunate. So mitigate it, work through it. Don't take it personal. What do you got, Anthony?
As a matter of fact, that kind of had just happened to me last week about someone not moving all their stuff. I have a divorce situation. They're pinning everything on each other and the house is trashed. I went over there to take pictures so I could show my handyman or anyone that I could pay to go out there and do it so they could pay for it after at closing. And I remember when I was door knocking that there's some refugees that live across the street. So I knocked on their door and I asked them if they wanted furniture, and they went and cleared up the house.
Guys, be creative. Be creative. I love that. Hey, you guys want some stuff? Like the listing I took yesterday, the seller told me, well, most of the stuff can stay. Well, buyers aren't going to want most of this stuff. So I told them, guys, I know you're elderly. It's called Tucson Estates. It's a community of manufactured homes that are all 55 plus. So you can tell the clientele that lives there. And they have a thing in this neighborhood. If you put anything outside your house on the sidewalk, it's gone. Somebody comes through and they like pick it up because unfortunately people in this neighborhood are dying all the time. So instead of like selling their stuff or taking it to the dump, they just put it on the curb and people just come by and pick it up. Whole community comes by and picks up stuff. So they said the same thing. Oh, what do we need to get rid of? We'll just put it on the curb. I was like, anything you guys can get rid of, let's do so. It's a little crowded in here, but anything left over, we're just going to tell the buyers they can have, or I will get it hauled out for you. Don't worry about it. Talk about taking care of the seller's desire. Because I'm going to put it on Facebook Marketplace for free, and I'm going to have a whole bunch of refugees come over and get some free shit. Some people work with their hands, some people work with their minds. Doesn't make you better or worse, just makes you different. If you were me and I were you, I would come up with creative solutions. Anthony gave you guys a fantastic one. I remembered from door knocking, there was a family that could have used this. So I went back to him. Now he's also showed incredible value to that family. And if you know anything about refugees, they usually have very tight-knit communities. Now Anthony became a benefit for them. So guys, thank you so much for being a part of my mornings. And I hope you're picking up some value today. Was it worth your time? Did you learn something you can use in your business to be better?
Yes.
Good. I will see
Yes,
you guys
definitely.
on Monday, even though it's Memorial Day.